Welcome, everybody, to the City of Farmers Branch City Council meeting for Tuesday, September 2nd. Our first item of business will be our invocation and pledges, so if you would, please join me. Heavenly Father, we ask that you shine your light on our city tonight as we're here to do important work for our community. Help us to remember that we are here to serve others and not ourselves, and that we are here to make decisions that will move our community forward, recognizing that we serve many different people. Give us the guidance to look beyond ourselves. We ask that you also shine your light on our first responders, our police officers and firefighters, and our service members. And finally, may the blessings that you have given us be a reminder that serving others is service to you. In Jesus' name we thank you. Amen. If you would, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Next up are ceremonial items tonight, and our only one is the presentation of the Employee of the Month Award for July to Christopher Todd Worley of the Fire Department. Come on in. Okay. So tonight, we recognize Todd Worley as our Employee of the Month for the month of July. To highlight Todd's selfless dedication and unwavering commitment to his team. In a recent situation that posed a significant staffing challenge, Todd voluntarily stepped in to ensure that the impact did not fall on members of another shift. This act of service exemplifies Todd's consistent willingness to put the needs of others before his own. It's an outstanding reflection of his character and the values of our department. So, Todd, thank you for your leadership, teamwork, and continued service to our community. Now I'd like to ask Chief Latimer to say a word.
Yes, Daniel Latimer, I'm our fire chief here at Farmers Branch. So I'd just like to thank Todd for his service. I thank the mayor and council. Thank you for presenting that to Todd. Todd is one of the most amazing firefighters we have in our department. I've got to know Todd for almost 20 years. He's been here for over 20. I came in behind him. We got to ride the ambulance together at the old station. Came together, one of the crew that we were working together. But Todd he is what you hear what the mayor said. He is that outstanding. He puts others above self, as it was stated. He's been that way since he's been here. So for 20 years, he's been that way. I just want to thank Todd for the kind of leader that he is. He's definitely left an impact on me and our department. And as you can see, even his shift, his battalion chief, their captains, all his guys, they come out here for this. This isn't required of them, but they want to come show respect. That's the kind of shift that he has as well. So kudos to his shift. And then his mom and brother here as well. So thank y'all for coming. In honor of Todd. So just thank you, Todd. And on behalf of that, before I let Chief Henderson speak as operations chief, real quick, here's our fire chief's coin. And so I get to hand these things out when something special happens. And so on this, it's others above self. That's what we're about in the Farmers Branch Fire Department. So I'm going to hand this to you, Todd. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. Great job.
Just to reiterate what Chief Latimer was saying, Todd is one of those very special people that even though he has a very busy life and a very active life, he is always looking to help out his brothers. I've never run a study on it, but if I did, I'm sure I would find out there's probably nobody in the department that is subbed for other firefighters more than Todd. He's always looking out for others' well-being, and you can also see that in the care that he gives to the people of the ambulance and to the people in the community that we're tasked with helping. So thank you, Todd. Appreciate your great work, and you deserve it. So Todd, on behalf of the City Council, myself, it's my pleasure to present this Employee of the Month Award for July to you. So I hope you feel this proud. All right. Thank you for all that you did. It's nice to know you. Next up are items of community interest.
Good evening. We have a few items. The 2025 Pickleball World Championships are returning to Farmers Branch, hosted at Brookhaven Country Club from October 31st to November 9th. An informational open house will be held at Brookhaven Country Club on September 25th at 6:30 p.m. This is a great opportunity for residents to sign up as volunteers, get additional parking permits, and purchase tickets. Refreshments will be served while supplies last. Next, we have the City of Farmers Branch has once again received the highest possible bond ratings, a AAA from both S&P Global and Fitch Ratings. This recognition reaffirms Farmers Branch standing as one of the most fiscally strong and well-managed cities in Texas. The city earned this top-tier rating due to its sustained population growth, a vibrant local economy, and sound financial practices, including strong reserves and effective budgetary performance. To learn more about this incredible achievement, visit our website and click on the current news section. Experience a journey through time at the Historical Parks Classic Car Show on Saturday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Check out original and restored automobiles from the 20th century. Grab a cup of coffee from the local fuel pop-up station at the historic 1936 Texaco service station. Do you have a classic car that you like to show? Vehicle entry begins at 8 a.m. and costs $20. Awards will be presented for Best of Class, Best of Show, and People's Choice. For more details, please call 972-406-0184. And as always, you can sign up for CDE News on farmersbranchtx.gov or by scanning the QR code on the screen. And now we're going to watch a budget video to learn more about our budget process and fiscal responsibility here in Farmers Branch.
City budgets are about people and our shared priorities. Every year, the City of Farmers Branch undertakes a thoughtful and transparent process to develop the city's budget. This ensures that your tax dollars are invested wisely to meet community priorities set by the City Council. The City Council guides the city on where to spend money based on community needs. Each February, the City Council initiates the annual budget process by identifying strategic priorities and focus areas during its strategic planning session. The budget process is not completed in just 1 month. It's a comprehensive, year-long effort to develop and approve the city's budget. The budget sets out to accomplish 4 things: captures the city's shared priorities, explains where the money comes from and how it will be spent, outlines the ways the city will provide services, and serves as a communication tool for informing the City Council and the community while guiding city staff. Creating a budget is more than just numbers. It's about listening to the community and understanding its needs, which guides the City Council in developing a strategic plan with specific focus areas. In March and April, city departments begin working on their budgets to maintain or expand programs and services based on the focus areas outlined by our City Council. From here, the city manager can begin building a strong, transparent budget, and by July 31st, the city manager, following the City Council's guidance, prepares and submits the budget. At this stage of the process, the budget is transitioned to the City Council for review and adoption in September, as the city's fiscal year begins October 1st and runs through the following September. During the budget process, public engagement is key, and residents can participate through City Council meetings, workshops, and a town hall held in August. The city's budget is divided into several funds to ensure that every dollar is used for its intended purpose. The three main funds are the General Fund, the Water, Sewer, and Stormwater Fund, and the Capital Improvement Project, or the CIP Fund. Other funds, like Hotel Motel, Revenue Stabilization, and Debt Service, play supportive roles. Let's take a closer look at the General Fund. This is the city's primary operating fund. It covers most day-to-day services, such as police, fire protection, water and road maintenance, parks, and more. General funds also include operating expenditure and departmental budgets. But where does the general fund money come from? The largest source of funding is from property taxes, with commercial properties contributing the majority of the property tax. Other key sources of revenue include sales tax, charges for services, and various miscellaneous revenues. As part of the budget review and approval process, the City Council sets a property tax rate. Your tax bill is shared among 5 different taxing entities, with only a portion coming to Farmers Branch. The General Fund ensures that the city continues to deliver the high-quality services that our residents rely on every day. The Water, Sewer, and Stormwater Fund operate differently, as these are self-supporting funds, meaning it is funded entirely through the utility fees paid by our residents and businesses. Most of the fees collected for the essential services such as water, wastewater, and storm drainage systems cover the direct cost from our partners, Dallas Water Utilities for the water provided, and the Trinity River Authority for wastewater treatment. On a typical day, the city treats approximately 5 million gallons of wastewater and delivers up to 10 million gallons of clean, potable water to our residents. These funds are debt-free and financially independent. The next large fund contained in the budget is the Capital Improvement Project Fund, or CIP. The CIP is how we plan and pay for major infrastructure improvements around the city. The CIP fund covers large projects which are funded through general obligation bonds, interest earnings, and available balances from the General Fund and the Water and Sewer Fund. These investments are essential to keeping our city moving forward, with key priorities that include replacing aging utility lines, revitalizing and improving our streets, drainage improvement projects. Following this years-long process of evaluating the city's needs and priorities, the city manager presents the budget, and once approved, implementing those priorities will begin. At the City of Farmers Branch, we are committed to accountability, transparency, and delivering high-quality services. Every dollar is carefully considered and responsibly spent. As part of our commitment to transparency and to keep our residents and businesses informed on how their tax dollars are used, we've created a financial transparency website. Visit www.farmersbranchtx.gov to explore the budget process and learn more about our transparency efforts.
Very good. I hope you all enjoyed that. And of course, you're free to always ask any council member if you have questions about the budget. Feel free to stop them and visit with them about it. And let me just add one additional comment. School is back in session. Please be aware of the school zones. Please be aware of the school zones. Watch your speed. No texting. And no being on the phone in the school zone. Officers out there, they are watching for you because they want to keep our children safe. So thank you for that. Next up are public comments. I don't have anybody signed up to speak, So we will move on to our consent agenda. Oh, there is one change on the consent agenda. Thank you for reminding me. Item J10 is being moved from consent to regular agenda. So J10 will become L4 on the regular agenda. J10 becomes L4.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of J10.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please indicate your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next up, our public hearing. Item K1, conduct a public hearing on a proposed fiscal year 2025-26 operating and capital improvement program budget in accordance with Article 4 of the city charter and take appropriate action.
Mayor and Council, Ben Williamson, City Manager. Thank you for the opportunity to give this presentation on the proposed budget. This should come as no surprise. This will be the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time you've seen some of these slides. We've grown the budget intentionally from a strategic effort into what you see today, which is the proposed budget that has now moved to the public hearing phase. This is the penultimate step before we get to adoption of the budget, which will be at the next council meeting. So this is exciting. It's been a long journey, and we're close to the end of this journey. This journey wasn't without steps. So when you look at these steps, it's important to recognize that this wasn't a budget that was put together without care or consideration for the public. We worked with each of you and the public to figure out and identify what the priorities are for this city council, what the council wants to see in this budget. Then staff went and worked to put this budget together to reflect those priorities. If you look at the priorities, you see public safety, public infrastructure, economic development, and neighborhoods in there. And those will be themes that are consistent throughout the budget, identified by dollar amounts as well that show these are part of the budget. One thing that's very important when you look at a city's budget, the budget isn't about next fiscal year only. It needs to look years in advance. You will see this in the budget as it looks at economic forecast. It looks at what the city will be doing, not just this next budget year, but what we're looking forward to in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 7 years for some of these different forecasts that we use. It's important for a budget to look at those different metrics and models because we can't do a budget for just 1 year. Otherwise, it could make the next council, the next staff members' job even that more difficult. So we want to make sure it's a quality budget, and this budget delivers on that as well. As part of the process, we did have the budget town hall. We've had several meetings. We've had the transparency, the website. If you haven't checked out the recently updated website, it's a shout out to the communications team that did what was considered impossible just 2 years ago to get that website updated. It's lighter, it's more friendly, it's easier to use. Again, having the information is just part of it. You have to be able to find it. When we talk about the journey, it never stops. So even today, just 2 weeks out from a budget, actually 13 days out from a budget being considered for final adoption and the tax rate as well, you see the pathway that we're on, and it never stops. So we're going to continue this conversation. We don't stop in October. Maybe a brief celebration the first week or so of October, but then we start again. We start preparing for the next budget cycle and season. We also begin end-of-year procedures, closing out the budget and preparing for audit. Again, looking at the timeline, a short 2 weeks away. This is the final steps of this. For some of you, this will be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, think maybe 8th budget. But again, it's a journey we take every time. We want to show every piece of the journey. It is a long journey. We thank the public. We had about 40 folks show up to the budget town hall and ask some great questions about the budget as well. One of the biggest things on the budget, it's not just what it's doing, but it's making sure that you as the council can go into the community and say, this is a resilient city. Earlier today, you had a presentation about emergency management. Emergency management's all about resiliency of the city, but that's from a disaster perspective. It doesn't just have to be the environment. It doesn't have to be a technological disaster. The financial resiliency of the city is just as important, arguably the most important. And so these funds, the way they've been structured and set up for discussion, is they have target balances that allow the city council to respond to any disaster, financial or otherwise. They will require money regardless of the type, but to make sure we're prepared for the future, show what we're aspiring towards and why, and also put the big one on there, the landfill with closure, post-closure for fund security. That's a big amount, but we have it set up based on trash fees to achieve that goal in the next 20 years. Communication this year has been a big focus for us as a city, as the council, to arm you all with the information. We put out the surveys, we updated the website. You've probably noticed every agenda item growing and growing and growing as we put more and more information into it, so you could see the progression from strategic planning session all the way to today. The after action reports are in there. You can see those, and that's something, as you heard again earlier in the night with the presentation, was about the flooding that happened. There will be an after action report. We do those after these budget meetings and attach them so you can go see the notes and see what was discussed and the direction we received as staff. You saw the video once again. We're hoping you will see that video for years to come. That video is not based on just today's budget. It sets the stage for all budgets for the city. Unless something dramatically changes in Austin, that video should still be usable for years in the future. This is one of the more fun parts of it. We put up the board. We said, give us your comments, give us your sticky notes. And for some of these, we really didn't get too much budget feedback. We got some light notes in here, just general feedback, but there wasn't a consistent theme. There wasn't this budget or should do this or shouldn't do that across the board. Just some random notes from the residents to tell you kind of how they feel about what's going on in the city, what's going on in Farmers Branch. Some budget notes in there as well. You know, no car on the grass. That was a fun one, you know, so that's a concern. That's a code enforcement issue. Fix the streets. That's going to be infrastructure. The budget does help with those as well. Last year, it talked about some of the cuts with the trails and how we made the budget work last year. So you're seeing these feedbacks, but what you're seeing here is we're going to focus on that one right in the middle, because I feel like this is an important one for you as the council. And I wish I could tell you I didn't know who wrote it, but I do. She's probably the most positive person in Farmers Branch. Every time you see her, there's nothing she doesn't love about this city. And she put that right in the middle. You can see it. So why not focus on that as thank you to Farmers Branch. That goes to the council, the residents, the staff, everyone involved. And that is the budget as we're going. We're very few next steps left to accomplish. Everything's been published. The public hearings are set. And so with this one, as part of the process, the procedure for tonight, very specific on how this goes, but do you have any questions for me about the budget, where we're at tonight?
Council, this is a public hearing, and so I do not have anybody signed up to speak. Anybody wishing to speak on the budget? Seeing none. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Well,
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second the motion.
thank you. A motion is second. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Okay, public hearing is closed. So, council, any comments regarding the budget? Councilwoman Bennett.
Ben, so there had been some scuttlebutt out there that we were raising taxes, and we are not raising taxes, are we?
We are not. The tax rate is remaining the same as it was in the current year. It is not going up.
Thank you.
Councilman Reed?
No questions for me. Everything's been disclosed, discussed, dissected, bisected, everything. And I think we have a pretty clear picture of a budget. It's a very strong budget. And I want to thank you and the staff for all the work that you put into this. I know it's a long, trying experience, and you guys went through it like troopers, and appreciate everything you do, everything you did, and look forward to getting this passed.
Yeah. Credit goes to the team. They're in the trenches with us the whole way. So it's a team effort. Thank you, though.
Very good. Thank you, Councilwoman Villafranca.
I want to thank you, Jawaria, the entire team. What an incredible job you have done. Our city is in such a great position. There are some neighboring cities whose names I will not mention, who are not in the same position, or are going to be forced to make some really difficult decisions in cutting services, cutting amenities, closing swimming pools, and we are doing just so well. And thank you, to your leadership. Thank you to my colleagues on the council, and thank you to all of the city staff. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilman Neal.
Yes, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jawaria. Thank you, staff, Farmers Branch. Much appreciate all the hard work. Just one clarification. I'm getting questions regarding funding on that Firehouse Theater. It's still in the budget.
It is.
It is still in the budget. Just wanted to clarify, it's still in the budget for those out there that are wondering. But thank you, Ben. Thank you very much.
Yes, every council priority remained in the budget. The tax rate remained flat. We achieved that through operational efficiency and the support of the city council. So thank you to the council as well. While we appreciate the support to the staff, we can't do our job without the city council. So thank you for entrusting us with this great responsibility and to bring this forward to you all.
Thank you. Councilman Rowan?
I don't have any questions or comments. Thanks for all the hard work.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that residents understand that the council does take the budget very seriously. Fund security is very important. And one thing that I've spoken an awful lot about is the landfill and the closure fund for the landfill. If, Ben, I don't know if you can go back to the fund security slide, you'll see that that target balance in that fund is $38 million. And that is, that's a liability to all of us here in the city. And I believe that the plan in place to address that between now and hopefully 20 years from now will prove to be very positive because, as I said previously, that's money we have to manage the closure of the landfill, and not only to close it, but to continuously monitor it for 30 years after it closes. And that's required by state law. So that is, it's been very important to me ever since I first got on council. And we're making progress on that every month and every year. And so I just appreciate that is remaining at the forefront for this council. So.
No, absolutely, and that's why we put it out there so everybody's aware of it. Important to note there is a plan. We're on track to follow that plan. We will get there as long as we stick to the plan.
Okay.
Can I make an additional comment?
Yeah.
I just want to make an additional comment. I do know that we do have a surplus as far as I understand it. And I really would be in favor of either leaving it in general fund for use for another matter or having it go to infrastructure if we're at that point in the discussion.
We are not for this agenda item. The next one does ask for direction from the council on fund balance and where the council would like to see it go.
Okay. Councilman Neal?
Ready for a motion?
We're not taking, we are?
You're affirming that we're going in this direction and
Oh,
that
yeah.
you're
Okay.
basically making it public that on the 16th, we will have this final discussion. You're scheduling the vote for the 16th. That's why we.
Mayor, I move,
Okay, all right, yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Mayor, I move to schedule a vote to adopt the budget and ratify the tax revenue increase reflected in the budget during a meeting to be held September 16th at 6 p.m. at City Hall, Farmers Branch, Texas.
Our second?
Thank you. A motion and a second. If you would, please indicate your vote accordingly. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay. Next up is, I'm going to move one item out of order, L2, which is discuss end-of-year budget adjustments for fiscal year 2024-25.
Mayor and Council, Ben Williamson, City Manager. One last topic for tonight, budget related as well, so I'll be taking care of this for the staff and for the council today. Councilmember Villafranca, this is the one you just talked about, is what do we do now? So we're jumping from one subject to the other. The previous subject was the proposed budget moving forward to the next fiscal year. This is concerning the current budget as we finish this year out. And so start looking at what is the amount we're looking at for council to give direction to. It's $2.3 million. This is going to come from that approach we have with the budget. We're conservative with our revenues. Staff continues to deliver exceptional results, so those revenues tend to be great. Interest tends to stay up, even though the market has said it will drop for the last 18 months. It hasn't, so interest rates remain high. And when you look at those other fund balances, they are generating revenue as well. and sales tax. So you start looking at just these other little pieces. And this 2.3 million is after we've balanced the budget with any spikes and expenditures that came as well. So this is all the pieces coming together. And every year the budget's going to do this. There's going to be some that come in under, some that come in over. The balancing of the budget, we disclose the ones that were, whoa, these were really high. We need to let the council know. So when you see it in next year's budget, because when you have budget expenditures that do spike, and it looks like they're going to hold, we put those into next year's budget. So next year's budget accounts for these spikes, while this year's budget is balancing them and still delivering a surplus to the council for you all to consider. The general theme when you look at these types of budget surpluses at the end of the year is it's a one-time revenue spike because it's the end of year adjustment. Generally, it's recommended save it or don't spend it, allocate it to a fund, or use it for a one-time expense. So generally, you want to put one-time expenditures with one-time revenues and recurring expenditures and recurring revenues. That's important because a question you will sometimes get is, why don't we use this to lower the tax rate? Well, if you look at 1 penny on the tax rate, start extrapolating that out, the fractional amount of this penny, because this is one time, you could say, well, it's worth, let's just make it really simple math, 2 cents on the tax rate. But at the end of the day, the next year that's gone, and so that surplus is gone, and it contracts the budget in a way that's not easy to recover from should something change. And so that's why you don't see it aligned with those types of mechanics in the budget. It truly is that one-time recurring revenue that we have, and how would the council like to use that? Again, what are different things it could be used for? This is completely up to the council. Again, there's nothing that says you have to spend it. You can put it wherever you'd like. Staff is looking for direction where this money should be put. You're not spending the money tonight regardless of where the council asks to put this money. If you say put it in parks non-bond CIP, you put it in infrastructure, you put it in general fund, the money to be spent will still have to come back to the council for authorization to be spent. This just gives staff an understanding of the alignment of where this money is going, so staff can be prepared to bring it back to you all for any priorities of the city council. So you see those different themes that are here under council priorities. Again, it's completely up to the city council on what you would like to do. Based on our conversations, these are in no particular order, except they are alphabetized. So if you're wondering how these projects were listed, we just put them in alphabetical order. And when you look at these, the columbarium was discussed and proposed at $200,000. We did hear Economic Development Fund increase. That's always a great fund to put money in because there's always going to be something coming out of that fund for the city. The fitness park at the Justice Center budgeted right around $200,000 as well. Can always increase fund balance. Mercer Park, 1 to 2 million, Squire Park up to 1 million. And again, infrastructure as well. Depending on what type of infrastructure, that would be clarification on what type of infrastructure, because there's going to be, remember the pendulum that moved back and forward? The streets were the one that was in there. We do have water, but that is being covered right now by the water rates. But again, wherever the council would like, we can. You start to see this again. Why are we back here? Because there's not action on this tonight. We're looking for which direction you would like us to move this discussion. So where will the money go? And that's where we will amend the budget as part of the next meeting. So the next fiscal year's budget will be adopted and you will close out this current year's budget as it goes into audit. With that, I'm going to go back to this slide. I believe this is where the conversation will be. This is where staff is looking for direction from the city council.
So thank you, Ben. Obviously, that helps. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start the conversation here because I think it's very important that we're very strategic about where this money is placed and obviously its use for the future. And so my recommendation to council would be to put $1 million into the CIP fund. We will need it without a doubt because those are definitely ongoing expenses. I'm suggesting considering $200,000 for the columbarium project at the Keenan Cemetery. Had $500,000 allocated to parks, parks being a combination of either Squire Park and Mercer Park to help take them to the next level. $200,000 for economic development, which is very important to the financial livelihood of the city. $200,000 for the demo rebuild program, which is also important to the long-term vitality of the city. And obviously, that has paid huge dividends. And then $200,000 for the fitness park at the Justice Center. And maybe council will consider using that as a starting point for discussion. So, Councilwoman Bennett?
Mayor Lynn, before
Yep.
we move to the next member of the council, when you say infrastructure, what are you specifically, or CIP, which CIP project bucket are you looking at? There's a lot of CIP.
Water.
Water, okay. Got it.
Okay, Councilwoman Bennett?
I would like to either see all of this in our fund balance. Obviously, wastewater is important to me, but as you stated, that is already covered through the water rate increases.
Correct.
But I do have a question. Is that going to include the creek studies?
Creek should just be coming out of stormwater in most
Okay,
cases.
I'm just making certain after the flooding on Rawhide and walking it again yesterday. The other thing I'd like to see happen is I'd like to know what it would look like to give a reimbursement to our residents
Reimbursement for what?
for the 2.3. How much is that per resident?
Oh.
Would you look at per resident or per household or per household?
Councilman Reed?
I'd like to see the entire amount put into CIP budget, CIP bucket, targeting the 3 parks that we have there. These are amenities that will serve the community, amenities that people have been looking forward to. And I think it would be a great use of the funds to finish up the projects that have been started, that have been promised for a while, and get those taken care of, and then take care of the fitness park at the Justice Center, one that we were just introduced to last meeting, I believe. So yes, I think giving back to the residents is great. I'd like to see it done through that.
Councilwoman Villafranca?
Yes, thank you. So I would be in favor of $1 million going to just a general fund so that we won't be so constricted in what we want to use that money for. I definitely am in favor of separating some of that money for a columbarium. And could you please clarify for me? I thought Squire Park and Mercer Park already had money in their buckets for some of that expense for their park.
Correct, they do. Mercer Park has been presented as there's phased options, so in its current, there is money for Mercer Park, and you'll receive a presentation later tonight about that. But what it's saying is to achieve all of the phases, it would take up to $2 additional million to get all phases in. And when Parks presents that tonight, they will show what that looks like in those different phasing of it. So $1 million does get you a park. The next $1 million gets you more of this park, and then the final $1 million, the $3 million total, gets you everything that's possible with the park. Squire Park, depending on final direction on the different pieces, can go above $1 million. The biggest thing with it, though, is if you're going to enhance a park that sits in a neighborhood, the recommendation is how do we handle the increase in traffic on the neighborhood? We learned this lesson the hard way with Hoya. We put a regional park in the middle of the city, and there's no fingers to be pointed at this one, but it taught us a lot of lessons on how to better handle a park that's been upgraded, because what will happen is you're changing a neighborhood park to more of a larger neighborhood park. It's going to draw more people, which means more traffic, more parking, so you're going to need the ability to park more people. You're going to need some lighting. You're going to need some enhancements to handle the increase in people. As the park's been presented right now, it's talking about the park itself, the amenity that's the park. We're talking about the infrastructure that supports the park, and also any other enhancements the council would want, because it won't equal up to 1 million. As you get the different options that have been requested, it's how to stay under that $1 million price tag. But if we start saying, okay, the park's going to be enhanced, and as the council says, will this bring more people to the park? That's wonderful, but it needs to make sure we're not upsetting the balance in the neighborhoods. So the lessons we've learned from Hoya is how do we incorporate those on a smaller scale if we're enhancing this park beyond what is a traditional park and what's best for the neighborhood. On a side note, it could possibly be some solutions for on-street parking in the area. There's a lot of ways to look at it. But that is one of the concerns that came up when discussing a park that's being enhanced is now there's going to be more people there. So what does that mean for the homes that live right next to the park?
Okay. And just to clarify, it's still a pocket park, like a neighborhood park. So we're not going to turn it into Hoya, just so our
Correct.
residents are clear on that. I'm definitely in favor of the money for the fitness park. I think that it's going to be wonderful. And the 200,000 for the Eco Devo. I just am a little bit conflicted. I would rather put that, I guess, the $1.5 million into the general fund so that we can, make a responsible decision about either the Mercer and Squire or another project that may be of importance that we haven't really thought about as of today.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. Councilman Neal.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I'd like to start by putting $1 million into the landfill fund. It's one of their bigger liabilities we have. I would also agree with some of the other council comments regarding $1 million into a general fund for maybe some projects yet to be detailed and defined. The remaining 300,000 or so, I know that District 2 is in need of a red light at one of their dangerous intersections, and I know that District 5 has a light that they'd like to remove. So if we could do a swap there and use some of this extra money to make that happen, it might be helpful for the whole city. Otherwise, I do have a question regarding the fitness park at the Justice Center. It's my understanding we do have a grant money that is a part of that. Is this suggesting an additional 200,000 on top of the grant that we're receiving, or?
So this would be to, and I don't have those notes in front of me, but my memory serves me as saying this, the park itself, our matching piece would be close to 160, 170, somewhere in there. The 200 was to account for anything that hasn't been accounted for in site prep because there's quite a few trees that are in the area. And every time we go in and start messing with trees or infrastructure, we always have surprises. So that's a contingency that's built in to make sure we can successfully.
So this is 200,000 inclusive of any contingency, because my understanding that the grant was for about 55,000. The remaining 140 or so was by the city to put forth. So I'm wondering where we have additional need for 60,000 there. So
We'll check on those numbers and get those confirmed for you.
again, these are just some general directions for you. I know we'll be revisiting all of these probably in the near future. So those are my thoughts for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Roman.
So as I'm looking through these different projects and kind of buckets of money, I think one of the things that I'm looking at is, which of the projects are really far along that we as a council and previous councils have sort of decided to move forward, and which ones are going to need money. And as I'm looking at that, it looks like really the ones that are at the top of the list. I think first and foremost, it's Mercer Park and then Squire Park. And then we've talked about the fitness park, and those are sort of the three in that order in terms of the completeness of the project, right? Like the trajectory that they're in to get them built and completed out. And so I think it's important that we allocate money to parks, not only for that purpose, but because we know that there's always an expenditure. I mean, we've made decisions many of the times to go back and replace roofs, replace infrastructure, fix something that should have been fixed, or something ends up costing more than it did. And I think it's important that we have that money available. And then if it's something that's not needed, then it can be pulled out of the non-binding CIP account for whatever other purpose. But I think having the cash on hand is extremely powerful. Like I said, particularly when unplanned expenditures come up. And so, and then also, as our city motto is, it's the city in a park. And so I think it's important that we support initiatives that align very closely with the way that we represent ourselves to the public. You can't be a city in a park if you're not investing in them. And so I wanted to see the allotment allocated between the three different parks projects that are on here.
I'm just trying to make notes here. So you in favor of the 2.3 going all to the parks? Councilman Rowan? Okay, okay.
May I make an additional comment, Mayor?
Sure.
So the demo rebuild program, I feel like it's done what it needed to do. We've had tremendous growth, and especially in District 5, and I think that it's done what it needed to do. With regard to the landfill, can you I want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. So our water bill is now, our bill is $5 more a month. If you're a senior, it's $250. When the time comes to close it, that will be the amount of money that we need to cover that expense. Is that correct?
It's partially there. So what's going to happen is over time, over the next 20 years, the rate's going to rise and it's going to get closer and closer to market rate. So right now, the $5 does not cover the trash for the city of Farmers Branch. So what's happening is the revenues from the landfill are subsidizing the trash service for the city. That's why it was free for so long. But then the tough conversation happens of what happens in 20 years? How do we make sure we're ready to close the landfill? And at the same time, how do we get to a point in balance that we can prepare the residents for what is basically a normal cost of living in a city in North Texas is a trash bill. You'll see it on your water bill. You're going to see a trash and recycling fee on your bill based on that. So the fee is designed to go up gradually and eventually reach market rate. And once it reaches market rate in about 2 to 3 years, then the landfill will be at closure state. And then the trash fee will be negotiated between the city as a pass-through cost from the trash provider.
Correction. You said 2 to 3 years, 20 years.
For the final, when it's at final
Oh, when
market,
it's
when it's at final
at the
market
end of
rate.
20, yeah.
Correct. So year 17, 16, that's when you're going to see it go up to market rate.
Yes.
So it's a couple years, so it's not a shock, and that's the final market rate. But it's not designed to jump from 5 to 25 or 5 to 30. It's designed to gradually go up and catch up to market.
So based on the calculations, when the time comes, we will have enough money to pay for the closure based on the calculations that you're doing now.
Correct. And as we get closer, we'll be able to refine those. So the trash fee will need to be fine-tuned when it moves up based on the pro forma. And we do that every year as part of the ACFR when we do our audit. We look at where we're at versus where we're supposed to be from an accounting perspective. The one thing that should be noted with the closure, post-closure fund of all these different options, not that it's a bad thing, but it's just a mechanic of the budget. Once that money's put in that fund, it cannot come out of that fund unless it's for closure, post-closure activities. That does include some maintenance of the landfill, such as the gas collection system. That's considered a closure activity because you're also phasing the closing of the landfill. The landfill doesn't just close all at once. We're closing cells as they go. Yes, there's a lot of closure and guarantees that have to happen once it's actually closed, but there are parts of it that have been in there for a while, so we have to replace the gas collection system. So as it's closing out, there's pieces and movement to the landfill. It doesn't just close all at once. It's a journey. So that's why you'll see sometimes the fund will dip. That's because we're paying for large expenditures at the landfill. And of course, those come to council.
So this is one other reason why I'm in favor of just putting a lot of it in the general fund, because once it goes in that landfill bucket, that's it. We can't pull it out for anything else. Is that right?
Correct, but it's also a strong, that's why it's on the funds, as we talked about security, it's still a strong investment in the future. What it would do is council would then further fine tune future trash rates based on the fund's balance as it's growing. If it needs more, the rates go up sooner. If it needs less, they don't go up as soon.
Just to follow up on that, is the 38 million, as you showed on the slide, in today's dollars?
That's what the account needs to be at when we get to the end of the journey based on the pro forma that we have.
So it could be more, it could be less, right? So we
It's
don't,
going to
we
get
don't
better
know.
the closer we get.
And secondly, council, as I understand it, has the ultimate authority on the budget and the monies, whether they stay in landfill or not go in landfill, right?
Well, landfill's a restricted fund, so the other funds, you have a lot more flexibility, but once it goes into that fund, the way it's set up, it can't be pulled out for a park.
And where does that restriction come from, originate from?
I'd have to get you the ordinances on how we set everything up.
And those ordinances are generally put forth by the council?
That was done by ordinance.
I understand. My point is, council could undo an ordinance, so if they so choose. It's not likely we would do that, but it's possible.
It might be. I'd have to check and see how it was set up. Usually they're very careful when those are set up. I'd have to look at what the attorneys and rely on them to look at how we set these funds up, but sometimes they are set up in a way that restricts that.
And I just like to support District 5. We'd love to have an amenity. We'd love to have a park. So we're going to do a city in the park. We'd love to have one in District 5. We're the least number of parks of all the districts. And maybe that's why we take advantage of the demo rebuild program. So I'd like it to stick around.
And that's a great point. And to that point, by putting the money into the CIP, it doesn't have to necessarily go all to these 3 parks. It'd be nice. But if we do have another option.
Yeah, understood. I've had multiple conversations with the city manager, as other council as well, advocating for a park in District 5, and heretofore, we've not even had much of a discussion at all. So just put that out there.
Right, and I understand what you're saying, and I agree with that. It's an option that we have. So by not tying the money up into restricted funds, but by putting it into the CIP fund, if we have an opportunity for that, the funds can be used for that.
And as long as we're having conversation, I'm just going to weigh in. I fully understand that, and I'm not sure the demo rebuild program was in effect before I was ever on council. But if we went back and looked at the money that was invested in the program, and again, got to look at why it was even set up. It was to get Farmers Branch noticed. It was a difference maker that differentiated Farmers Branch from many other cities and got people to take a look. It has paid off handsomely. When you look at the homes, the redevelopment that's going on, not only in the Brookhaven area, but in other areas of the city. Right over here by City Hall, right just up the street a little ways, Holbrook and some of that area, Epps Field, off of Tom Field and whatnot, all demo rebuild type projects. And that money has helped make a tremendous difference in our city. So I'd say, in my mind, that was a really good investment. But that's still, none of that put a park in District 5. And, we do have one up there off of Garden Brook. But
That's it.
But that's it. And they even have a lake up there. But it's not much of an area. If we were going to do anything, man, I'd really like to try to enhance that area with some more amenities up there. But that, I think, is something that if I didn't specify which park. I was saying put $500,000 into parks, and then that's a separate discussion, that we could have down the road.
Yeah, let me be clear. I'm a huge advocate of the demo rebuild program. So any attempt to cut that program or significantly alter it, I'd not be in favor of that. So just to be clear, I like the demo rebuild program.
Well, and just for my mayor and council, the demo rebuild is a complete separate agenda item tonight. So that's probably an opportunity to discuss that in a little bit more detail as far as just that program specifically.
So in this general discussion that we've had here, I'm not sure that we've reached total consensus on what next steps, where we should direct you. And I'm not sure if we're going to get that tonight.
Well, for the most part, any inaction, the fund balance would just sweep into fund balance and sit there as unallocated fund balance. So without the identification of projects or where to park the money, it's going to park in the general fund as unassigned fund balance.
So is that something if for, lack of a better term, for temporary holding, we moved all that to $2.3 million to the general fund, with the understanding that we need to visit this some more and really get everybody's priority list, project list, whatnot, and then try to, maybe there's just a meeting on that to whittle down to what makes best sense. Would you all be on board with that?
Mayor, thank you for that comment. I suggested that 2 months ago that maybe we just save it.
I concur, he did. But I do want to correct you. In 2013, Holbrook and Harrisburg were under Mayor Glancy, and they were the Renaissance program in that area. The Epps Field, that's how it started, was the Renaissance program in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay. Thank you.
Based on
So-
that feedback, would the council be okay letting the fund balance increase for the city? So we'll adjust accordingly for the fund balance to increase, and should council want to reassign that fund balance at a future date, we can continue some of these other conversations as well. You'll also give you time to see different presentations from parks. Again, Mercer Park is coming. There's different presentations happening. Squire Park is happening. And, you know, there's a couple drives already scheduled in certain districts where we could look at opportunities for potentially different parks or amenities that could align with fund balance as well. So that might be some opportunities. Instead of trying to say it has to go in this fund or that fund, it'll be put in the place where it can be assigned to basically anything the council would like. We'll hold it for now. Just to also note that that is one of the criticisms the city has faced in the past, is when fund balance gets a little bit too high. I'm just sharing that in the past. That's been a concern from residents, is that's too much money sitting in the general fund that's unassigned fund balance. But again, if it gets assigned in the future, or saving as well, council can also change targets for fund balance. Maybe it's not 90 days. There's unlimited possibilities for the council.
Well, and this also gives you time to answer Councilwoman Bennett's question about if there was her word reimbursement, what would that be? So are we good with taking a pause and just let it sit? Okay.
Perfect. We'll
Very
proceed
good.
accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up is item L1, discuss and provide direction to staff regarding the Farmers Ranch Animal Adoption Center expansion project.
Good evening, Mayor, City Councilwomen, City Councilmen. I'm Scott Webster, the Deputy Director of Community Services, and it is my honor to present to you the Animal Adoption Center's expansion. So back when the Animal Adoption Center was constructed, that was in 2009, and it still currently houses 39 dog kennels and 30 total cat kennels. In 2022, we received a generous donation of $1.5 million for a cat solarium. This is what this proposal will bring to us, and that we're going to better staff. We're going to give them safety areas. Oh, sorry. We're going to give them safety areas so that when they're handling an animal, it's not getting distracted or scared by a different kind of animal. It's going to keep these animals secure, staff secure, and the citizens secure. We're going to expand the areas so it will increase our availability to house more cats and more dogs for holding until we can get them adopted. We're going to increase the visibility of the pets. So now we're not just looking at a small area that we can see it in. We now, in both sections for dogs and cats, can see these areas up close. They get to play with the animals and concerns. Going through with the committee and staff, this is the proposal that has been approved by the committee. And as you can see, we have a clear area now for the cats to be seen, separately from the dogs. Staff can handle them, take them to where they need to go without concerns that they're going to get harmed by them getting scared, especially when you're dealing with strays. This is going to provide cat playrooms for the citizens to come in and play with the cats, for the cats to play with themselves when we got a litter of kittens. It's going to provide 3 holding rooms. That way we have areas that they can sit and wait. This will also allow for the reallocation of the previous cat rooms for additional dog rooms. So now we would move them dog rooms from 39 to 45 spaces. The financial impact is all of this is coming out of this donation. We're going to be under budget on this donation and reassess when this is completed. The $1.5 million donation, for that, with this going out, hopefully getting plans completely drawn up, going out for bid. We would be able to start construction hopefully by the first of the year with a 2-year time frame for completion. Now I would entertain any questions or discussions that y'all might have.
Thank you very much for the presentation, and let me just say thank you very much to the estate of Miss Holly. What a tremendous gift to give our city and the pets in our city. So, Councilwoman?
Can you go back a slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so she donated 1.5. You're estimating a 1.3. So if you come in at that on budget, what do you intend to do with the other $200,000?
So we have been in communication with the overseer of the state. After completion of the project, he has given his will that we can use that for the other needs needed for the adoption center.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Councilman Reed?
Yeah, can you tell me approximately on average how many dogs and cats are housed in the adoption center?
Roughly between day to day, that's hard to tell, but we typically get in between 30 to 39 dogs, and we typically have in about 20 cats depending upon a litter being housed.
Okay, so it's safe to say that we're pretty much at capacity,
Yes,
if not exceeding it.
Correct, sir.
Okay, so this would be definitely a well-needed and well-used addition to the adoption center.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
Councilwoman Villafranca?
Thank you so much to the Hawley family for their generous donation. That is incredible. Just as a coincidence, I was there last week. My dog passed away, and I had a bunch of dog food that I went and donated. And it looked like they had a full house. And I made the mistake of going in to see all the dogs, and of course, I wanted to bring them all home with me. I think this is going to be a wonderful addition to the community. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Councilman Neal?
Yes, thank you so much. I really like this project. Can you tell me, do we take in animals from other jurisdictions or other cats?
We do help out when we have availability for housing them.
Okay, that's good. And I'm just wondering, as part of this project, if there's any way we can honor Miss Holly with maybe naming it in her honor or something to that effect, or?
If it's not in my presentation here, but I do believe it was in the documents that we sent y'all. In her will, she had it to where all of her animals would be named, and that will be on the facade of the cat.
Okay, so we'll have some sort of plaque or commemoration of her and her
Yes.
donation along with, okay, thank you very much, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
You bet. Councilman Roman?
No questions. I'm excited for this project. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think everybody's in agreement to move forward with the plan.
All right. Thank y'all very much, and thank y'all for allowing me to do this.
Thank you. Next up is item L3, consider approving resolution 2025-120, authorizing agreement with Teague, Knoll, and Perkins Incorporated for professional services for the completion of the north portion of Mercer Park within the Mercer Place subdivision in the amount of $181,550 and take appropriate action.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Robert Diaz, Parks and Rec Director. I have some staff up here, Tara Bradley, our park planner, Mark Moffett, our park superintendent, and I have Nick Nelson with Teague, Knoll, and Perkins here this evening. And I'll run through a presentation, but I have them here to help answer any questions you might have. There we go. So what we're doing this evening primarily is we're kind of following the steps that we've had previously when we've discussed Mercer Park. Back in July, I don't know if you recall, we brought an update at that point, and we were kind of directed to move forward with this initial phase, the next phase in Mercer Park. And then this next step would be to go ahead and get a design consultant on board so we can move forward with the project. So that's what we're bringing for you this evening. So if you recall, so we've looked at the northern portion of the park that we're looking to get design completed. As you see in front of you, it's complete design with construction documents, preface to go out to bid, has all the engineering as well. The total on all that is $181,055. Some of the items in the scope are looking at a tennis court, basketball, pickleball courts, site amenities, park sign. One of the things I would like to point out, the design fees are a little bit more than I'd say for a typical neighborhood park, mainly because we are looking at some possible retaining walls and some that we'll have to look at, some engineering for that. So that's accounting for, out of the 181, probably in that $40,000 range, just for some of that infrastructure that we'll have to look at. And as we look at here, I know one of the things that the mayor discussed at the last meeting was looking at kind of where we are in regards to budget. So this kind of gives you a complete picture of what we've spent up to date, what the project budget is, and what the available balance is. So the items listed at the top are all the things that we've done at the park to kind of, on that southern portion. Let me go back a few. So what I mean by the southern portion is everything by the lake and up through the creek area where the trail is. We've completed irrigation. Oh, I'm sorry, other way. We've got the trees in. We've put a site amenities. So the developer put in the trail with benches. We put in our part was put in the trash cans. And then we also installed the stod. I mentioned the trees earlier. So all those items totaled about $135,000. We started with a budget of $1,055,000. The $55,000, I don't know if you all recall, last fall when we finally accepted the property because of all the issues regarding the Mercer agreement and how the trees and irrigation were all put in. So the developer did give us the $55,000 toward that, which we used to purchase those trees. That just went to the budget balance. And so at this point, we have an available balance of $922,190 in that for Mercer Park. So what we're looking for this evening is just kind of another step in the direction to move forward to get the design consultant on board to start that design process and go ahead and get this project moving on that northern end. And that's kind of the main emphasis this evening, other than to provide an update, I know, from what the mayor requested at the last meeting. And I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much, Robert. Appreciate the info. Councilman Bennett?
No questions.
Oops, I should have started with Councilman. Oh, sorry.
I don't feel slighted. If you could go back a couple of slides. One more.
One more. Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about a basketball court. It looks like that's in the lower section as well.
Well, this is conceptual drawings. I know.
Okay.
So we would like to see if we can get a basketball court. That's in this next phase. And so it looks at I believe we have a half court basketball is what we're
Right.
looking at. We can, we're trying to get the biggest bang for our buck on the next phase we're going to develop. So we're trying to hit, like it said, up to 3 pickleball and a tennis court. So we're trying to get as much in there as we can. So I know it's a tight area and small space, but the concept shows 4 pickleball and a tennis court. So that's kind of we felt like if we could maybe get a basketball, reutilize one of those pickleball areas. So.
Okay, yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that it was clear in regards to, the difference between what we're looking to do and what this rendering depicts.
Correct.
Okay. And do we have a timeline on if we were to move ahead, when it would be completed?
If we get the TMP agreement cleared this evening, we'll go right into design. I would say we'll be able to bring back some design in 3 to 6 months, maybe, Nick? Yeah, in a 3 to 6 month time frame. And then my hope would be by next summer, possibly going out to bid, if not earlier.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Councilwoman Biffrey?
3 to 6 months sounds like a long time to get plans for a
Well, it
park.
really kind of just depends on the engineering we have to do on the retaining wall and things like that. They have to do soil analysis, we have to get core samples and different things like that. So depending on how much time that takes, that could be what takes a little bit longer. If we find that things go really well, we don't need some of those retaining walls and some of that engineering, it could go a little bit quicker.
Councilman Neal?
I would agree that residents have been waiting a long time for this, so if we can shorten that time, 3 to 6 months, all the better for everybody involved. So just thank you.
Councilman Roman?
I'm supportive of it, no questions.
Very good. This item is marked for action.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 2025-120.
Second.
Very good, thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please indicate your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next up is item L4, which again comes from the consent agenda. Item J10, consider approving resolution 2025-175, authorizing the city manager to execute appropriate agreements and provide the payment on the city's behalf for the purchase of fleet vehicles in the aggregate amount of $1,424,688 and take appropriate action.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Kevin Reinhardt. I'm the Fleet Operations Manager. Presentation up. J10. Okay, so we've got on the list to purchase this time 13 vehicles in the amount of $1.4-ish million to be funded out of the 24-25 budget. All of these vehicles will be purchased through a cooperative purchasing through multiple different contracts. And first up, we've got a couple of trailers for the police department. As you see on here, there's going to be multiple trailers coming out of service to replace these. So there'll be 3 coming out of service to replace the 1 enclosed trailer and 2 coming out of service to replace the command trailer. We've got a heavy-duty dump truck with a sand spreader for the Public Works Street Department, and also a concrete saw truck. That's the truck that will haul around the concrete saw so they can perform their operations, cutting up streets and repairing them. Public Works Utilities also has a heavy-duty dump truck, identical to the streets one, also with a sand spreader for winter weather preparation. The heavy-duty crane truck, F-150 pickup truck for their supervisors, and then a light-duty dump truck as well. And for the fleet and facilities, we've got 2 Ford Transit vans that have a enclosed service body on the back so that they can keep all of their tools and supplies for facilities repairs secured. We've also got a F-250 utility truck that has a service body on it with a lift gate to help them move items and things like that. And then for the fleet department, we've got 2 F-150 pickups. One is going to be for our warehouse parts truck that has a lift gate, and the other one's going to be our roadside service truck for our fleet technicians to go repair vehicles on the side of the road. And it's got emergency lights with that. And those are the vehicles I'm looking for. So, any questions?
Thank you very much. Councilman Neal?
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions regarding the Ford F-150s you have. If I just do the math on this, the one for Public Works, $56,000. The vehicle is currently 17 years old. It has 60,000 miles on it. So it's roughly 3,500 miles per year.
That's correct.
And I know you're swapping it out due to age, but have we considered something less than the F-150, like, I don't know, Chevy Colorado, Ford Ranger, something like that, smaller size for supervisory work?
Yeah,
or-
working with the department, this truck is also going to be doing, I believe, some meter replacements and things like that. So they do need longer tools, and they've actually requested a long bed on this one. So to get their needs, this was the most appropriate.
We don't have other larger F-250s that could facilitate that need?
We could go to an F-250, but that's an increase.
No, I'm talking about within the fleet.
That would be
already.
more of an operations discussion.
Yeah, I think that's a little excessive, 56,000 for a vehicle that's only used 3,500 miles per year. It just seems like a lot. So I'll just move quickly on to the, there's a couple of electronic vehicles, the F-150 Lightnings. Ford Motor Company had stopped production of those EV vehicles for some time. It's still on their radar in the future. Again, we're replacing two vehicles for $120,000 for vehicles that are only used 2,200 miles, 2,200 miles per year. I don't think that I'm in favor of purchasing electronic vehicles that are only used 2,200 miles per year. That's quite a bit of money, $120,000 or 60 some thousand a piece. And I would really like you to consider another alternative to those. Again, the Chevy Colorado, Ford Ranger, Ford Maverick, something like that. I just don't know the need for the expense for electronic vehicles that are somewhat in a gray area with respect to Ford Motor Company support and future aspects of that line of models. So just some comments I'm going to put out there for council consideration.
If I could say, the parts truck that we're getting is also a replacement for the Napa IBS truck that we used to have for their operations. So when we brought Napa in-house, we need to replace that vehicle for them. And their truck had a liftgate. We want to continue to have a liftgate. So having at least an F-150 is going to be crucial for that role.
Councilwoman Bennett?
I have no questions.
Councilman Reed?
None for me.
Councilwoman Villafranca?
Thank you. What do we do with the old equipment? Do we use it as a trade-in? Do we sell it and then keep the money? Like, I'd love to have an old car with 50,000 miles on it. And also, are we able to look at EV, like going electric as much as we're able?
Yeah, we're trying to. There's been some discussion on EVs. There's 2 EVs on this list, and both of those are for the fleet department. Kind of trying to be a leader in the space. We've got charging infrastructure at our facility already. So to answer your question, the vehicles will go to auction. Typically, we use Renee Bates, very well-respected auction company around here. And the funds for that will go back into the vehicle replacement funds.
Councilman Roman?
I don't have any questions.
All right. Well, this item is marked for action, so anybody wants to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve R2025-171. Consider approving the resolution 2025-175, authorizing the city manager to execute appropriate agreements and provide the payment on the city's behalf for the purchase of fleet vehicles in the aggregate amount of $1,424,688.
Can I make
Second.
a change, because it's actually 175, not 171?
2025-175.
It says 175. I'm sorry, it was 175.
Okay.
Okay. Just wanted to make it official. I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please indicate your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much. That concludes our regular council agenda items for tonight. We did not finish with study session, so we're going to resume that right now with item C4, which is to discuss the Sister City program.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Darren Harris, Deputy Director, Economic Development. I have the pleasure of giving you an update on the Sister City program. Just to give you a brief background, Farmers Branch is in relationship with 3 major cities right now. That's Basel, United Kingdom, Garbsen, Germany, and Slowenbeck, Germany. The relationships consist to have communication between dignitaries and to conduct visits every 5 years. The goal of the program is to advance peace, prosperity, through cultural, educational, humanitarian, and economic development exchanges. This map shows the location of the current cities that we are in relationships with. And the Sister City Committee is set up as a citizen-based led committee, as a chair, a city liaison, and it meets to conduct exchanges, visits as needed. And the city's role is to facilitate meetings, provide staff as needed, and provide resources as needed. Current and past invitations included a visitation to Garbsen, which was canceled in 2020. Currently, we don't have any visitation offers for Garbsen going forward. We do have a visitation that was offered to us by Basel, United Kingdom, for 2027, and we don't have any visitation existing for Schoenbeck, Germany, going forward. With that, I'll ask that you give us any questions or direction that you would like to take on the program.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start with Councilwoman Villafranca on this, but I'll just first say I'm a big believer. I think Sister City programs can work well when you have something in common. I am not a fan of just giving somebody a free trip to go someplace that has never really done anything back for us.
Right.
I think we need to be very careful about that, especially when we're traveling on taxpayers' money. So I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm going to let you go.
I agree with you, Mayor. I don't think that the Sister City program should be just sort of a free vacation for any of us. I think that in addition to cultural and educational programs, we need to have more. We need more meat. We need economic and business.
Mm-hmm.
We need tourism. You know, FIFA is coming. This would be a wonderful opportunity for us to have a neighbor. 53% of our city is Hispanic. And I would like to actually propose that we grow the Sister City program to include Mexico. They are our next door neighbors. They are our cousins in this world. And I think that there's tremendous opportunity. The mayor and I were at a meeting for the North Texas Commission last month. And some of the numbers are just fascinating. And we are situated in the perfect spot. We have the space, we have every opportunity that every business should want to come to. U.S. headquarters to 35% of Mexican companies in North Texas. And that is huge. 35% of Mexican companies are headquartered here in North Texas. And I think that we should really be taking advantage of that piece of the pie. And, you know, so it would be much more than educational and cultural, although that is important, but we need to have more than that. We need to bring business. Imagine bringing, tours of people that want to come to FIFA and have watch parties and that kind of thing. And I think the proximity also would alleviate some of the cost issues that we have. One of the other, I'm just going to sort of read what the slide was from the North Texas Commission. We're the fastest growing region in the U.S. We're the 4th largest. We have 5,000 miles of rail. We're number 1 in U.S. job growth and the 7th largest export market in the U.S. So this puts us in a really great position. We're really close to the airport. DFW is the third busiest airport in the world, and 2 of the nation's top 20 cargo airports are right in DFW. So this is the perfect marriage for us. We're 15 minutes away from the airport. So I would like to propose that we add Mexico, and then work with that, and in the future see what other things, Korea, we have Koreatown a mile away from us in the neighborhood, in Carrollton, but I really would like to focus on adding one sister city, and possibly work with the sister cities that we already have, but I do not want this to be a free vacation and just a fun thing. Like, it needs to be productive. We need to see fruits.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bennett?
Can you go back to the sister city slide? Thank you. So, nope, go forward, right there. Thank you. Okay, so my question would be, how much of these trips cost us in the past? And what do we have in common with these? I mean, I would think that they are substantially different than a suburb in Texas. So as for the economic development, I'm just not sure that parlays over. And so I would need to know more of their demographics and what they're doing and how they relate to us and how we could make that work before I would be supportive of continuing it. But I want that too before we just added Mexico, just because I need to know how much that's going to cost and how that equates to us. What does that look like for us on economic development? Even if it's how we lay our streets out. I need something.
I'll get that information for you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilman Reed?
I agree 100%. I'd love to know what criteria we've used in the past to determine what a sister city is. If there's something set specifically, whether it's demographic, size, what have you, to help us understand why these cities were chosen and what criteria we would look at if we were to expand the program.
Okay, I will get that information for you, Councilman Reed.
Councilman Neal? Councilman Roman?
So, I think I have similar questions, and I think maybe Councilmember Reed might have already mentioned this, but sort of the historical background of where the Sister City program came from and what the intended purpose was, I think would be helpful. I just did a quick search on, what are Sister City programs, and it just says on here, the goal is to promote peace, cultural understanding, and mutually beneficial relationships through various exchanges such as trade, education, arts, and humanitarian projects. So, if that's the purpose of it, and just because something was started for a particular purpose back then doesn't mean that has to stand as the purpose for the council moving forward, because we can certainly modify the purpose to make it whatever we'd like. So if it's more focused on sort of economic and business development, then that's fine. I think we've had discussions about, Hispanic companies kind of really looking at this particular area predominantly because of our location, the proximity between the airports and the rest of the Metroplex. But I think if we're looking at expanding the program in some way, I think we should definitely look at the growing community. So we've got the Hispanic community, and then we also have the Indian community on the west side that's growing. And I think obviously for the reasons that Councilwoman Villafranca mentioned, I think Mexico would be a great addition. But I think that, personally, and I won't speak for the rest of the council, but as somebody who represented that entire area and still represents a good portion of that area, I can't say that I completely and 100% understand the culture and their way of thinking and how they operate, and the different things that they celebrate, to have a better appreciation and to be able to represent them in the best way that I know possible. There's just a lack of knowledge that I have, and I think opportunities like this where we as leaders can go outside of our comfort zone and say, let me immerse myself into what you're familiar with and understand your perspective because it's not one that I'm familiar with. I think that really would go a long way, particularly in sort of forging a better relationship with the West Side, because I think they feel disconnected at times. And I think this really would go a long way to ensure that they feel that not only they as taxpayers are important, but so is who they are as people and their culture, so much so that the city would be willing to invest taxpayer dollars to go and visit with their electeds and see what we can foster from that relationship. But those are just my thoughts, but I agree with the rest of my colleagues. I think it's important that we dig into this more and really figure out where it came from and if we want to move forward with expanding it and maybe repurposing it in a different way, what that looks like, so to make sure that it's something that we can all support.
We will research all the information you've just given us, Councilman Roman, and get those answers back to you.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to add, so obviously there has to be an educational benefit to this, a cultural benefit, and a trade or business benefit to what we're doing. And I think, I don't know, these programs, these sister city programs were around way before I was ever on this council. And I know folks had gone to Germany, they had gone to England. I assume that people from England and Germany came over here. The only thing I know for sure, we do have a German school in Farmers Branch. That's great. But we also have a Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce, which is located in Farmers Branch. And last year, they took a number of dignitaries to Taiwan, Mayor Munz from Plano being one of them, and 6 companies in Taiwan agreed to open up offices in Plano. The office of the Chamber of Commerce is located in Farmers Branch. I felt really slighted on that. So, but when I think about what we're doing, where we're moving, where we're evolving, some of what we've done in the past may not be relevant anymore. But what is relevant is that we're closely tied to Mexico. And when half of our population in Farmers Branch is Hispanic, and we have companies that send product to Mexico, and there's businesses in Mexico that send product to the United States, and some of it comes through Farmers Branch, then that gives me more of a reason to say, hey, we've got something in common there. How can we build on that? How can we use that to our advantage? So what I'd like to see us do is study Mexico's a big country. I can't just say, let's make Mexico. Well, we need to make some place. What is that place? Who has the opportunity to benefit Farmers Branch? We now have a new Consul General, who's running the Mexican consulate here. And so I think that would be an ideal place to start this discussion and have a discussion before we just jump off and run off and just jump to do something. So let's be strategic about how we can make this benefit our city as well as another city in the future.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll take all this into consideration and get the research back to you.
Thank you.
In the name of transparency, I've met with him twice already, and he just started on August the 1st, and we've already had 2 meetings. And he is excited about the possibility of partnering with our city. I didn't make any promises. I just said, if this were to happen, would you be interested? And he was very open.
Look at our state representatives too. I mean, we should utilize them too, because we're all in this together. And we've got 2 Hispanic state representatives serving our city. So, okay. Next up is item C5, discuss and provide direction on the demolition rebuild program.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. Darren Harris, Deputy Director of Economic Development. I have the pleasure of giving you the update on the demolition rebuild program. When we last met in round one, there were significant programs that needed to be put in place with the current program. And what the developers suggested was program simplification, equity and fairness, and expansion of the program into neighboring areas. During developer feedback round two, all of the builders, except for one, expressed a need for the expansion of the 3-year $10,000 cash grant rebate. There were alternative ideas that were preferred. They preferred a longer term tax rebate with no cash grant. Reason being because the $10,000 was not significant to offset the demolition costs. Secondly, most clients wrote that demolition expenses into their construction loans. And lastly, a 7-year program rebate offers more value to new residents without the city requesting upfront costs and voter approval. These are the current program guidelines. $65,000 and under gets a $30,000 cash grant with a 3-year rebate. $65,001 to $100,000 gets a 20-year cash grant with a 4-year rebate. $100,001 to $150,000 gets a $10,000 cash grant with a 5-year rebate, and $150,000 and $1 and up gets a 0 cash grant and a 7-year rebate. These are the current items that we have under discussion for tonight. Is the 3-year tax rebate, the 5-year tax rebate, and the 7-year tax rebate. Each give five examples and an estimated annual tax with the return on investment. And with that, I open this up for discussion and direction for the mayor and council.
Thank you, Darren. If you would, probably go back one slide, just leave it up. And I don't remember who requested this. I think Councilman Neal.
I did.
Okay.
I did. Okay, I'm still in favor of the 10,300 just to make it simple. However, if they're saying that they roll that into their loan amount, the 10,000 into their loan amount, I'm perfectly willing to give that grant money to the actual resident at closing to help offset closing costs, if that's what they're saying. Otherwise, 10 and 3 for me is a good sweet spot, and we can continue that through the city.
3-year tax rate rebate?
Yes.
Councilman Reed. Councilman Reed.
The developers know their business. I think going with 0 on the initial investment, on the demolition cost, and coming up with somewhere between 5 and 7 years for the tax abatement would be in my opinion, the most appropriate.
May I make one more comment, Mayor?
Yes, you may.
So I know it's an amazing program, and I'm very supportive of it. I don't want to see it go away. I also know that the money that is going to come in from the Renaissance, from the Builders of Hope, is restricted funds and needs to go somewhere. It's the perfect place for it to land, unless we want to stay in the real estate business and purchasing more lots. These are the two options on that. And I've had this discussion multiple times with Ben. But even though this is a great program for us, and eventually it will make lots of money, right now it isn't, because we keep extending and adding more to it. So we're technically still upside down because we're not collecting all those taxes. Even from the ones from the very beginning, we are from them, but we've added so many compounding on top of it, we're just not there yet. And so putting it at a shorter time puts us there as well. And I think that that's fair for both sides. And that's where I want to be. I want to be fair.
Thank you. Councilwoman Villafranca.
So my understanding from one of our builders is that the majority of residents are not qualifying for that $10,000 demo because of the value of the home. I would be in favor of a 3-year, maybe 5-year tax rate. I'm seeing here on our legislation text, the last paragraph indicates the estimated total liability cost for the demo rebuild program is $4,254,543.73. And I'm assuming that's just for 2025, Ben?
No, that should be the compounded numbers all the way through
Okay.
the program. That shouldn't be an annual number.
Because in the
That's
first
total.
paragraph, it says as of 2025. Okay. Okay, so I would be in favor of the 3-year tax rate and then just drop the 10,000 demo.
Thank you. Councilman Neal?
As I said earlier, I'm very much in favor of the program. I would agree that maybe we can just drop the whole cash grant money up front, but I think I'd be in favor of maybe a 5-year tax abatement. So maybe we can negotiate that somewhere, but
Okay,
those are my thoughts on that.
thank you. Councilman Roman?
I think from my perspective, the 3-year and 10,000.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to say, I'm going to go back to my comment from earlier, and that is, when I first got on council, one of the things that was explained to me was this program, the upfront cash was an incentive to get Farmers Branch the look that it hadn't gotten before, that it hadn't received. I do think the program has gotten very complicated over the years, and I would like to see it simplified. It costs, from my conversation with 2 of the builders, it costs about $7,800 on average to tear down the average house. Okay? So some homes might be a little bit more to tear down. Some could be a little bit less, but $7,800 was what I was told is the average. So again, part of me wants to look at this as a marketing vehicle for the city to get us a look that people, prospective buyers, aren't finding elsewhere. That's the way I'm viewing it. And so I'm in favor myself of keeping the $10,000 cash payment. To me, it doesn't matter when it's paid, but somebody's going to invest the kind of money into the city in their homestead, yes, and then reducing the number of years and making it just flat 3-year abatement on the improved value. This is one area where people I think they don't fully understand. If you had let's say a $300,000 house, whatever your property taxes were at $300,000, you're still going to pay property tax over the 3-year abatement period, but you're paying them on the improvement value, whatever the $300,000 was. And after 3 years, if you built a $1.2 million house, then your property tax is going to hit tax on that full amount. So, very important to note that people aren't getting free taxes ever. They're still paying their taxes. But I think we've seen where this program has provided a lot of positives to our city.
Honestly, with the 10,000, I would think we would leave it, not because our developers that were in on this meeting want it, but because maybe outside developers might see that and be, okay, that's a little offset to go into a new market.
Yeah, it'd be great if we had some more developers or builders come in to our city. You know, we're sort of limited, but, you know, the ones we have do really, really good work. So not discounting that. But again, we want to attract buyers, home buyers, and people that will be good residents in Farmers Branch.
Okay, and I agree, and that's why I think a longer tax rebate period, that's what's going to appeal to the buyers. That $10,000 that goes, the initial amount, if it's going to be a $1.2 million home, $10,000 seems kind of piddly in the grand scheme of things. However, if they're getting a 5-year tax abatement period, I think that's what's going to appeal to the buyer. So if they have a choice between a new build in Plano and a new build in Farmers Branch, very similar properties, that tax abatement, it could be the point that brings them here.
Thank you. Any other
Plus the fact that we're a much better city.
Ben, can you clarify the last paragraph, or page 1, last paragraph on the legislation text? I'm having trouble understanding it. And also, I want to reiterate, my understanding from speaking with one of the builders is that the majority of his homes do not receive the $10,000 because I think it has to be a certain amount of money for you to qualify. So if the house is worth less than 300, I think it is, I don't have the exact number, then you don't qualify. If it's worth more than 300, you don't qualify for the 10,000. So the majority of people are not even getting it, and it just complicates things.
Hold on. I'm trying to get it open. Oh, thank you.
So the last paragraph here, we're not understanding.
Just to make sure I'm understanding the question on the legislative text on the last paragraph, I'll just read it in so everybody can hear it. This is the as of 2025. So as of 2025, the program has gained more traction with 25 applicants so far. District 5 again saw the most interest, 16 homes, followed by District 3 with 4 homes, District 4 with 3 homes, and 1 with 1 home. Incentive usage also reflects this growth, with option 4 remaining the most utilized, 13 homes. The program shows increasing momentum, growing from 15 applications last year to 25 this year. The estimated total liability cost for the demo rebuild program was $4,254,543. Darren, can you go back and show option 4, please, for the current program? So what this is showing is that the program is showing a lot more traction with homes of greater improvement value. So this will be nicer homes or homes that are of higher dollar value, not necessarily nicer, more expensive homes being demoed, which would indicate they're usually going to be on lots that are also. So this fits with District 5. And so what we're seeing is more the continued interest and sustained interest at a higher level in District 5, which fits the data points we have that shows a very high interest in District 5. Also shows with those home values that we have the more expensive homes going through this program, which puts an even nicer home than was there before.
So my sense is that we're looking to simplify this without these qualifications, this value, that value, and just say, you know what, here's a straight up tax abatement for some period of time and be done with it. Am I accurate?
Yes, you're accurate. And we've had that discussion a couple times before. I know it's an accounting nightmare for the city to try to keep up with this and the onus that's on the homeowners also to apply for their abatement. So,
I mean, I've heard 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. I don't know if we want to compromise at 4, maybe.
4.
I'd be okay with going with a 4 if that's the will of the council, but.
So I was trying to keep a record of what people were saying, just so, and I'll take myself out of this since I don't vote. But there were 3 that expressed 0 cash up front and anywhere between 3 and 7 years on the abatement. So you know, if.
I
it- if it-
notice also in the legislation text, there's an advocacy for longer duration of tax abatement. I don't know if that has much relevance here, but it's just noted from the developer's input being that the longer tax abatement was more advantageous, but it's just, I'm just pointing out what was documented there.
Ben, do you know if?
Hey, Roger.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Hey, Roger, quick question. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly because your microphone sounds a little bit muffled on my end, but did you say 4 years tax rebate and no cash incentive?
Correct. Because it seems as though most builders, the 10,000 is not a big incentive, so to speak.
So with the 10,000 incentive or without it?
Without it, but, and eliminate all this qualification, 65,000 and under, 100,000, 150,000, as he shows on the diagram now, just get rid of all that complication and just say, here's a tax abatement for X number of years.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be fine with a 4-year tax rebate with tax abatement with 0 cash grant.
Ben, do you have any rough estimate of what that a 0 and 4 would cost the city on a annual basis?
We would have to do some research and put a model together for it, but it's based on the way it's done without the cash coming out the door at the very beginning. It does make it easier to budget because we're not going to be hitting the fund for cash up front.
Okay.
We'll be refunding property taxes based on receipt of a request for a refund.
So I know we're not making a decision, taking action tonight, but is that something, a direction that you could move in and have that research for us whenever you bring this back up again?
Yes, but again, it's going to be a model based on estimates.
Yeah.
On what that would be.
So if we looked at, you know, roughly, say, 20 homes a year or 22 homes a year.
Exactly. Do we need to put a cap on them?
Well, I don't know if we put a cap on it, but at least we need to know what that budget impact is so we can make sure that we've got the capacity within the budget to absorb that.
Mayor, if I may, on the capacity for the budget, we'll be fine. So on the budget, when we look at truth and taxation with the transmittal, it'll show as a revenue, but an immediate expense right back out the door because it's considered a rebate on those. So we'll show the revenue coming in, but the budget won't be built with those. That's why when you look at the budget, you'll see the one number that shows 2.3 million in increases when the actual increase was $400-something thousand because of all the different incentives that are built into the budget. So the budget can account for it because it's a future budget. It wouldn't hurt the current budget. So the current budget would be fine. So would future budgets. It's just accounting for the numbers we don't receive because it goes right back out the door.
Okay.
So that's the budget would not be impacted negatively by any of these options except for the cash grant component.
Could you bring it back to us, ready to vote on with all that information?
With time, yes. So it'd be October before we would be ready.
That's fine, just so we don't have to continue down the road again.
Okay. We good? Good? All right. Thank you. Next up is item C6, receive an update from the mayor and council members regarding board liaison information from outside organizations and other meetings attended. Councilwoman Bennett.
I have nothing.
Councilman Reed.
Nothing here.
Councilwoman Villafranca.
Yes, thank you. I had the opportunity to attend the MetroCrest Connect luncheon. If you are a business owner, or even if you're not, MetroCrest Chamber is doing some phenomenal things. Attended Branch Vision, had an elder abuse program. Councilman Roger Neal and I attended, and it was a really, really great program. Attended the toilet paper drive for MetroCrest Services and Carrollton Farmers Branch Rotary Club. Attended the Citizen Police Academy alumni meeting. Attended the League of Women Voters luncheon. We were all at the budget town hall. It was very well done. Thank you very much for the work that you've done. Had another meeting at the Mexican consulate attended the MetroCrest Leadership Reception with Mayor Terry Lynn, with Jessica, with Darren, and someone from the police department whose name is not coming to me. Attended another meeting of the trailers, RVs, and boats, and as Mayor Lynn indicated, I think that it's been really productive. I think that we all know that there's going to have to be a compromise, but I think that we're moving forward in the right direction. Attended the MetroCrest quarterly breakfast, and the president of MetroCrest was the speaker. Michael Gallups did a great job talking about economic development, talking about all of the different businesses that are here in the community and that we can work with. And then I attended the Carrollton Farmers Branch Early College High School. I visited and attended their campus improvement committee meeting, and they're doing a phenomenal job at the Early College High School program that's held over at Brookhaven, at the Brookhaven campus, and the principal of the school is just doing a phenomenal job with those kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Neal?
I'm fine, Mayor.
Councilman Rowan?
Nothing for me.
Okay. I want to report that I went to the Dallas Regional Chamber Luncheon. They had a legislative roundtable featuring Congresswoman Beth Van Dyne, Congresswoman Julie Johnson, and Congressman Brandon Gill. Really interesting, talking about economic issues for the Metroplex and employment issues, tariffs, all of that. Very, very interesting to hear what was their perspective on all of that. Had a small mayor's meeting luncheon with Carrollton, Addison, Coppell, Irving, and Louisville, hosted by Dallas County Commissioner Andy Summerman. And of course, we were talking about some issues that affect most of us, one of them being DART, and then of course the homeless and how cities are dealing with the issues that are just, that they seem to be growing right now with regards to homelessness. I went to North Texas Crime Commission luncheon, and we received a very informative update from the new special agent in charge of the FBI Dallas office in regards to FIFA and what that's going to be bringing and all the coordination that is going into trying to make that event a safe event for everybody. Right now, there's 79 different law enforcement agencies that have to be coordinated in order to make this event happen. And these are anywhere from the FBI and Secret Service all the way down to local police departments. It is a massive undertaking, and I don't think people really realize, but you'll be seeing more of this in the news in coming months. Every volunteer, because they need thousands of volunteers, has to be vetted. Every person coming into this country will be vetted. So this is a massive amount of manpower that is required. And so I did ask, one of the questions from the audience was, with all of this taking place, do you, the FBI, have the bandwidth and capability to take care of just normal business aside from this? And so they assured us they would. They're going to be bringing in people from every field office. They have 54 field offices. They'll be bringing in people from every field office to the Metroplex to help assist with that event. I went to meetings for both the Citizens Police Academy and the Citizens on Patrol program, and we need interested people for both programs. If you're interested in knowing how our police department works and getting a behind-the-scenes sneak peek at that, the Citizens Police Academy is something that you might want to take advantage of. And that's a free program available to residents and folks who work here in the city. The Citizens on Patrol program is also available to residents who live in the city, and those are the volunteers that you see that do neighborhood patrol and house watch and do some volunteer work at the police department. So the man hours that our citizen or COP members put in save hundreds of thousands of dollars in officer hour and time every year for the department. Councilwoman Villafranca and I attended, I think, you were there, Mary Immaculate Church. They had a ribbon cutting because the church joined the chamber. And they said, how can we serve the community if we're not part of the community in terms of being a supporter of the chamber? And I thought, wow, that's really great. So I can't wait to tell that story to some of the other faith leaders. But it was a very nice event. Of course, we had the Budget Town Hall. I'd like to thank everybody who came to Budget Town Hall. Some very good questions were asked. The attendance was not as large it has been in years, so I guess you must have a lot of faith and trust in your leadership up here, and we appreciate that. As was mentioned earlier, we continue to have discussions regarding boats, campers, RV, and trailers, and we will have at least a couple more meetings to flush out how that may be discussed in the future. And then along with Councilwoman Villafranca, she and I are taking the MetroCrest leadership course. And so this week, we have a very interesting assignment. We're going to ponder for a rope and physical agility course, test, whatever. North Dallas Funeral Homes on call. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll come back safely and in one piece. But we're going through that, and it should be a lot of fun. So that's all I had to report.
We may be the first customers at the columbarium. Hope not.
All right, next up is item C7, review and discuss future agenda items. Councilwoman Bennett.
I'd like an update on, I had asked for the study for the creeks to be included with the water wastewater. I did receive a memo from Ben on Friday that we should have an update for the aging infrastructure in January, but I want to know where we are with the creeks.
Thank you. Councilman Reed.
Nothing right now.
Councilwoman Villafranca.
Yes, I'd like to request a report, if there is one, on our situation with the unhoused. I have a meeting with Councilwoman Gay Willis this coming Friday, and we're trying to see if we can maybe come together and sandwich everything in. But instead of getting better, things seem to really be getting worse with our unhoused situation. And if there's a way, do we have like a number count, a head count, anything that we can look at that would help us to kind of figure out where things are?
MetroCrest Services has the point in time. Okay. Councilman Neal?
Yes, I just have like to get some clarification. Maybe Ben, it's on the second page of the future agenda item where I had asked for quarterly updates on legal issues. Is that going to include the legislation works that have gone on in the State House? Much like we spoke earlier tonight of HB 2464, or is that a separate agenda item that I can't seem to locate on here?
Would like for it to be all encompassing, but I'd defer to the attorneys on if that works.
We were going to do as separate items, mainly because for the litigation update, that would have to be an executive session. Versus the legislative update, we could do it here in the open meeting.
Okay, and that's fine. Ben, if you wouldn't mind just a separate line item on that agendas list to call that out specifically. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Roman?
Nothing for me.
Okay. I am going to just put this out there. The City of Grapevine is once again having their 39th annual Grape Stop on September 13th. If anybody's interested in participating in that, please let me know. And that is all of the business that we have for this evening. There was no, excuse me, we do have one other, no, We did that. We're good on, we're good. We have no action to take as a result of the executive session. So with that, we will adjourn at 8:06. Thank you all very much.